Hello everybody, this is GamerGar. Welcome back to another video of Stardew Valley. For the purpose of today's video, we have 11 really cool facts that we're going to share with you today. All of these facts have been the combined accumulation of my experience playing Stardew Valley. Without further ado, let's talk about the very first fact that we have to offer in this video. So the first fact we're going to kick off with today are going to be the tea leaves. As we all know, you can get tea leaves from Caroline once you reach 2 hearts with her. You just have to go into her little greenhouse and she'll give you the recipe for the tea saplings. The great thing about tea saplings is that they last through spring, summer and fall. However, when it gets to winter, you can't harvest the tea saplings anymore, and you can only harvest the tea saplings at the end of each season. But if you put these babies into a garden pot, they will survive in winter. That means you can harvest them at the end of each season, regardless of what season it is. Utilizing this method, you'll have hundreds, even thousands of tea saplings by the end of the year. Convert them into pickled tea leaves to get you the most money, a lot more than green tea from a cake. As we can see here now, it's the first, and we can't harvest the tea saplings anymore, so make sure you get them at the end of the month. Next up, let's talk about wild seeds. Did you know wild seeds are used in many recipes in the game, specifically the underestimated and overpowered tea saplings? Let's have a look at the common mushroom here. I'm going to put this into a seed maker, and I'm also going to put winter roots into a seed maker as well. What we're going to get back are fall seeds and winter seeds. Utilizing this method, if you have the other mats to back it up, you can make yourself hundreds and thousands of tea saplings every few weeks in Stardew Valley, especially if you choose the mushroom cave, because common mushrooms are very common in the mushroom cave. That way you'll always have a huge supply of fall seeds. Next up, let's talk about the mini fridge. The mini fridge, in my opinion, is one of the most underestimated items in the game. To get perfectionist in Stardew Valley, there's an achievement you have to complete, and in my opinion it's one of the hardest achievements to do, and is to cook every recipe in the game. First of all, to get every recipe, you have to reach maximum hearts with every NPC in the game. It's extremely difficult. But if you stock up on mini fridges, you can fill up each mini fridge with specific items. For example, you can fill up one fridge with crops, another fridge with fish. If you do it this way, it makes it very easy to know where all your mats are stored. It also makes it very easy to craft all the recipes that you need to reach perfection. Next up, let's talk about hats. Hats, believe it or not, have multiple aesthetics in this game. Hats don't just go on your own character's head, they can also go on the alien rarecrow, and that's the only rarecrow in the game that can actually take a hat, which is quite unfortunate, to be honest. You can also put a hat on your horse, and this adds a really cool aesthetic to the game, because in my opinion, in terms of certain hats and masks, it can transform the way your horse looks, because some hats and masks, in my opinion, have a very strong presence. Next up, we have the sea urchins. You can actually put hats on sea urchins. Now we're just using a small aquarium here, but this looks really cool if you have a huge aquarium filled up with sea urchins. And you can also put hats on babies. Next up, let's talk about JUNIMO harvesting. As we all know, JUNIMOs will automatically harvest your crops. But did you know, if you have trellises, which are the bane of my existence, JUNIMOs can pass through trellises no problem at all. Even if the trellises are stacked on each other, JUNIMOs have absolutely no problem vaporizing through the walls to get all those lovely trellises for you. Next up, let's talk about JUNIMO colors. As most people know, if you put a prismatic shard inside a JUNIMO hut, you will get prismatic JUNIMOs. This means that the JUNIMOs that harvest your crops will shift to a color cycle. But you can actually put specific gems into these JUNIMO huts, and that will alternate what colors your JUNIMOs are. One example would be that if you put a ruby inside a JUNIMO hut, JUNIMOs that reside in that hut will always be red, just like the ruby. If you put an emerald into the JUNIMO hut, you'll have green JUNIMOs. If you put an aquamarine into the JUNIMO hut, you'll have blue JUNIMOs. This is really cool aesthetically, because you can set up your farm in a really cool way, and you can have different JUNIMOs in different areas with different colours. This is something I'm definitely going to try out when I do my 100% farm tour for you guys in a couple of weeks. Next up, let's talk about the hazelnuts. A lot of people don't actually know this, but when you get to fall, you can actually shake the trees for a chance to get a hazelnut. This is a great way to stock up on hazelnuts, especially if you want to make loads of fall seeds, because a hazelnut is one of the mats you need to make the fall seeds. As we can see here, we have a huge tree forest that we grew up out of the ground, and we're shaking down all these trees here now at the moment, and we occasionally get hazelnuts. And if you don't want to make seeds out of the hazelnuts, hazelnuts actually aren't bad when it comes to giving you energy or giving you health. You could even sell the hazelnuts and make a great profit at the end of the day, especially if you have a huge tree farm like this. So it's always worth shaking your trees down when it comes to fall and stocking up on those lovely hazelnuts, because they come with loads of benefits. One of the best things I like about getting tons of hazelnuts like this is because it increased the odds of me making more fall seeds. Therefore, I can make more tree saplings. Next up, let's talk about the wicked statue. The wicked statue, in my opinion, is a very obscure item in the game. A lot of people don't know that it actually has a use. For a long time, I thought it was just for aesthetic purposes. But if you place a wicked statue inside your slime hutch, the witch will never convert your slimes into black slimes. This is especially helpful if you have tiger slimes or if you have purple slimes. Basically, if you have slimes that were difficult to acquire, you don't want them to be converted into black slimes. Just put a wicked statue into the slime hutch and the witch will never pay you a visit. Now, it is cool when you get the witch the first time and you see her spray her little magic on the slime hutch, especially if you've never seen it before, because I don't really use slime hutches myself. So when I first saw this event a few weeks ago for the first time, I thought it was incredible. But then when I realised that the black slimes weren't as valuable as my tiger slimes, I was a bit upset. But it was too late by then, because the game saved after the witch came. So take my advice. If you have a wicked statue and you don't want your lovely slimes to be converted into black slimes, then just put it inside your slime hutch. Next up, let's talk about the wonders of making oil. And I'm not talking about truffle oil, I'm talking about regular oil. So I didn't notice until recently, but you could put sunflowers, sunflower seeds and corn into the oil makers and you'll get back regular oil. This is really useful if you need oil to make certain recipes in the game. There's a lot of recipes in the game that need oil. Now, depending on the item you put in, the oil machines here can take specific amounts of time. The shortest being the sunflower, then corn, and the longest being the sunflower seed. It's a great way to stock up on oil early on in the game if you want to make lots of recipes, especially if you have lots of sunflower seeds at the end of a season and you don't want to sell them. You can just pop them into the oil makers and you'll get lots of oil back. Next up, let's talk about wool quality. So basically, if you have sheep and you share them, or you put in an auto grabber and you get back wool, depending on the quality of wool you get back, you have a chance to get double the cloth. So an example would be that the silver wool, for example, you have a 10% chance to get back double the cloth. Gold 25% chance, and iridium 50%. Now, if you want iridium wool, you need to have the farming profession maxed out, and you need to have the perk where your sheep will generate wool faster. Your sheep also need to be on max hearts, then they'll start generating iridium quality wool. And if you put that into a loom, there's a chance then you can get back double the cloth. This can make you huge profits in the game. Next up, let's talk about ending relationships. Now, I didn't know this for a while, but as we all know, if you reach max hearts with someone and you want to extend it, you can give them a bouquet, you can purchase it from Pierre. But if you want to exit that relationship, all you have to do is burn the bouquet and you'll get what's called the wilted flowers. Just put it into a furnace here, and as you can see, we get back the wilted bouquet. Just give that to the NPC that you don't want to be in a relationship with anymore, and you'll end it peacefully. Now, I've never actually done this before. I'm doing it now just for the purpose of the video, but it is very interesting, especially if you change your mind and you want to get with someone else and you want to marry someone else in the game, you know, if you had a change of heart. So that's basically it. I'm going to leave the video here. Make sure to check out my other videos if you haven't done so already. I've got hundreds of Stardew Valley videos on the channel, so if you have time to spare, check them out. They're quite fun. So I hope you have a great day. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Stardew Valley content is released Sundays, Tuesdays and Thursday. I'm also going to be streaming it very soon on Saturdays. Have a good one. Bye. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe and hit that notification bell to be notified for my future videos. And as always, have a great day.